So the next speaker is going to be Saumil Majmudar. And Saumil Majmudar is the co-founder and managing director of Edu Sports. Saumil?
Pleasure to be addressing this August gathering. I must say that what I'm going to talk about is going to sound a bit flippant after the two fantastic sessions that have been there. But I would like to submit that it's probably slightly more serious than we think it is. What I've been trying to do for the last 10 years, and that's the journey I'm going to share with you, has been to solve a very simple problem of getting children to play. Of getting children to play more, of getting more children to play more, and building a business out of it. A lot of people told me, why don't you become an NGO so I could come to rich people like you and take some money and get children to play. In my view, that might not have been sustainable and scalable. So stuff that we learn in some of the better B schools, which I think is wrong. In my view, there are some learning we've had in that journey. So the two design principles were building a business and getting children to play. The context to that is that before Edu Sports, which is a sports village which started 10 years ago, I started my career in Wipro, then I had a failed venture in tech support, which means I was broke and had experienced failure, which is not a very positive experience given typical background we come from. Given that, the choice of what to do was critical, and I thought this was a problem that was important, was close to my heart, and was worth solving. But I said we'll make it as a business because that's the way it will be sustainable and scalable. So I went around asking people, and I'll ask all of you, do you think children should play? If I told you there's a nice place where your child can play, would you pay me money for it? Okay, so that's what market research is, and that's what I did with a lot of people, and I set up something called Sports Village in, sorry, who do I talk to for moving the slide? Oh, I have this? Okay, great, sorry. Set up Sports Village 2003. So the image on the second left, that's the three of us who started it. That's the ground we had in Bangalore. We thought we will have a sports village in every zip code of the country. Since you haven't heard of sports village in every zip code of the country, this didn't work. I didn't have money. We took money from friends and family, and we thought it's a nice place to play. It worked well to that extent, but we couldn't scale it because of opportunity, because of real estate and logistics issues. Parents just can't pick up and drop kids all the time. So once this didn't work, then the question was what next? And that's what they call the valley of death, right? You start with enthusiasm, we raise some money, and then it doesn't work. So into the valley of death I rode. And from 2004 to 2008, broke and trying to figure out a business model to get children to play. So I tried to move to apartment complexes to get children to play there. That didn't work. We tried to hire halls about maybe 1/3 of this size. That didn't work. We tried to get sponsorship for inter-school tournaments. I hit on a lot of my batchmates who were brand managers, trying to get them to give me money to sponsor inter-school sports tournament. That didn't work. We tried to get adventure sports stuff going. That didn't work. We tried to do sports ticketing. That didn't work. Then we tried to get children to use a mobile application to find places to play. That didn't work. I just wanted to get children to play, and 4 years had happened, broke, and the next question I'm sure is the whole opportunity cost argument and so how do you keep things going? So I again called up my friends, and some friends of mine were kind enough to let me work from 9 to 2 in the afternoon in their office, and that would pay my bills. In the evening I would do Sports Village. But I was convinced that there has to be a solution to this problem. What I believe and everybody believes is such a powerful force called sports, something that we think is so critical for children. There has to be a way to solve it. And in this process, a lot of people told me, well-wishers from IIT and other batchmates and other people, said, you know what, come back to real world. This is not a problem that you can solve as a business. Go take up a job, set up an NGO on the side, and just use part of a salary to get 200 kids to play. Somehow that was not working for me. Finally, in 2009, after we tried everything else and all the blind alleys have pretty much been done, we took the next bet, which was we went and said, okay, sports is education. We went to schools. We had no clue of working with schools. We didn't know anybody in schools, except for maybe Satya here and a couple other people. None of our networks have anything to do with schools. We don't know principals, we don't know trustees. There's a completely orthogonal set of, mutually exclusive set of people. We started knocking on doors. We had nothing. We just had this desire to get children to play, but we really had nothing. We were pretty much waving our hands and saying, sir, imagine if children play and all children play and all that. So, thank you. So out of 100 schools we met, 90 threw us out. 90 threw us out saying, sports are not important, parents don't like sports, parents want academics, parents want maths and science. So we said, okay. 10 said, interesting, tell me more. 3 said, where have you been all this while? And we started in Bangalore. My first customer was a school called TVS School in Madurai. The second customer, prospect, I wouldn't call it customer, was a school in Raipur. Honestly, I had to look up the map to see where exactly Raipur is. I knew roughly it's in the center of India. And we didn't have money. We had taken a loan, so we were running out of that money as well. So we had to decide whether we'll spend 20,000 bucks to take a flight to Raipur and meet this prospect who at least willing to talk to us. Because in Bangalore, nobody was willing to talk to us. I waited outside principal's cabins for hours. And principal's cabins are not a pleasant place to wait outside of. It's not fun. And I was wondering, what the hell am I doing? I mean, something wrong in this whole experience. So anyway, so some of those schools gave it a shot. And I think partly some of the waving of hands, some of those early principals said, okay, I like what you're saying. What have you got? So I said, what do you mean, what have I got? I will send somebody or I'll train your staff and they'll do a great job. I said, no. You're working with schools? Where is your curriculum? So I said, curriculum? What does curriculum mean? So no, if you work with schools, you have to have a curriculum. I said, okay. Now, we had no clue about how to do this. So I reached out to people and said, oh, this sports curriculum hota kya hai? How do we kind of build this? So anyway, I never thought I would ever do this. We wrote textbooks. We actually wrote textbooks which are physical education sports textbooks, right? Which essentially said, this is how we will conduct a lesson plan. These are the 25 classes and this is how we'll conduct a lesson plan. Then school said, okay, all this is great. I know what you're going to do, but how do I know it works? So I said, what do you mean, how do I know it works? The children are playing out there. You know it works. No, that doesn't work. You have to assess children. So I said, what does assessment mean for? So then the issue became, how do I assess? The normal assessment in schools was, okay, my sports program is good because we won a sports tournament. But that's a very exclusive parameter, right? Out of 1,000 kids, 20 kids will be playing. Now, the whole idea was sports as a part of education meant that we will create the same structure, rigor, assessment, parent involvement, and teacher training as maths or science, which means we had to come up with democratic parameters, which made it easy to compare two children. And that, I think, was one important step we took, which I think has made some difference. We came up with what we called assessment report cards, where each child we assess on a bunch of parameters. But the idea was the parameter was democratic, which means I get your child to run, let's say, 100 meters. And if your child runs 100 meters in the next second, he or she gets an A. It does not matter if the child represented a country, did not represent the country. If your child can touch your toes, he gets an A. If your child can jump so much, he gets a B. So we had these norms that we built, and that's one important thing I think we did in hindsight, that we democratized the assessment of sports performance, which before that was very exclusive. Before that, it was completely performance-oriented. And that, I think, was one reason why it worked. If I look at my journey, the first 5 years, I was saying the same thing that I have been saying now. 2 distinct steps I changed. One, I went and said sports is part of education. And second, I said sports because guess what, Mr. Parent, your child is getting fatter. Your child is growing this way, he needs to grow this way. And this is how we'll do it, right? And that appealed to everybody. Everybody said, yeah, of course, that makes sense. And the value that I saw was the school system worked because, did you ring the bell already? Okay. Okay. Sorry, I get carried away about talking about this. So, the school system has 3 components which I did not have, which is what I was struggling for in the early part. One, it had aggregation. The same bunch of kids, same age group, typically same height, weight, come out at the same time. Aggregation and synchronization. The third, and they had to show up every day to school, and most of you send your kids to school. The third important part was monetization. There was an existing fee revenue base which was coming into school every day, every quarter. What I had to do was to convince the school to pay me a small share of that fee to make sports a part of education. And that's what we were able to do. So today, we work with 300,000 students. We work with 400 schools in India and some in Abu Dhabi, Doha, and Nepal. So around 3 lakh children are covered by our program. And we look to get to 1 million kids by 2019, and then some more. So that will be fun. Thank you. But the important part is that I believe the model has been proven to be profitable and scalable, and therefore that's the key question. Do you have a? So 3 thoughts I want to leave with you. One was this: when we look at this kind of change component, a lot of people ask me why. I think the question we should ask is why not? And why not is liberating, why is kind of constraining. And why not tends to have very difficult answers to it. You'll get a job anyway, even if it doesn't work. People will take care of you. There are people who want to invest in your company. So why not? Second, in my view, I got carried away in the first 5 years of trying to find a scalable solution, whereas I should have found a viable solution. And once you find a viable solution, then you can scale it. In our case, I went to schools and said, here's my curriculum, here's my technology, I will train your staff. I remember this principal in Hyderabad, she said, Mr. Saumil, I like what you're doing. I want you to succeed, but you have to send your own staff. I said, ma'am, you have your own physical education teachers. Why do you need my staff? She said, no, it's not going to work. So from overnight, from what I thought was a cool consulting content technology company, I morphed into a service delivery company. I had to. So suddenly I was managing 5 guys in Madurai and 2 guys in Raipur, and I was sitting in Bangalore. So service delivery, but again, because it was viable, we were able to scale it. So today we have around 500 people who, on a given day, run around 2,500 classes for children and cover around 3 lakh kids. Thank you. So I want to leave this thought with you that it is possible, and I would also submit that if we look at building it as a business, it can also be worth it, opportunity cost-wise, finance-wise, and impact-wise. Thank you for your time.
Can I invite all 4 of you on stage, please? We'd like to give you a small memento, token of appreciation.